Deirdre, what would you say is your most relatable keyword in regards to what you do? So what would you say if you had to sum up what you do in a single keyword or a single 2 or 3 keyword, what do you think it would be?
Business mentoring.
Business mentoring. Okay.
Okay, picture this. You're scrolling LinkedIn, you're bored out of your skull, another motivational quote, another freaking pushy sales pitch, same old, same old. Then, bam, a video thumbnail catches your eye. It's not fancy, but the title is intriguing. You hesitate, then you hit play. 15 minutes later, you're jotting notes like mad, and you can't believe this content is free. You go back to the LinkedIn profile, follow the person, and check out what else they've got. Then you check out their website, and boom, you're getting over your credit card details to buy this paid stuff because this free stuff is so freaking good. I've done that. Have you done that? Because that's the power of long-form content, particularly long-form video content. And I've got the expert here today to share the practical details on how to turn your knowledge into a long-form lead generation machine on YouTube, LinkedIn, and anywhere else you can share videos. Today's episode of the Master Your Business podcast with Connor Clayton of Precision Edits Limited is a game changer to potentially get content making you money while you sleep. So whether you're YouTube curious or already hooked, this one's going to change your business game. Get that pen and paper ready, because 15 minutes later, and then some, you're going to be taking so many notes. Okay, let's go.
So, Connor, I am so thrilled to have you join us on the Master Your Business podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. Pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
Oh, this is weird because we've only met in real life before and not met on Zoom, whereas actually with most other guests, I actually meet them on social media or the internet. So this is kind of weird doing it the other way around.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we've met twice in person, haven't we? Both occasions on Manchester. I think we were both guests on a mastermind. And I think we clicked a bit, didn't we?
Absolutely. I came away with so many nuggets from your talk that I'm like, I have to get Connor on the Master Your Business podcast so people can pick up some of this wisdom. And that's why, Connor, you are here today, my dear, because I want to talk to you about YouTube and long form content. And you dropped so many nuggets about YouTube and how to create content for YouTube that you can use in so many other formats that I'm like, people need to know about this. So I'm okay. Where do we start, Connor? Like video and YouTube. Let me just say that. Video and YouTube. Where do we go?
Okay. First and foremost, you need to decide what you actually want your viewers to do. So it's all well and good having the goal of having 1 million subscribers, having 1 million likes, follows, all that jazz. All that is beautiful. But at the end of the day, we are business owners and we want this to actually turn into something. Our views don't pay the bills. I can't stress that enough. You probably heard that 1 million times. Views don't pay the bills. So you need to, first and foremost, you need to decide what you actually want your viewers to do. So are you promoting a particular call to action? Do you want them to join a newsletter? Do you want them to book a call with you? Do you want to push them to your website? Have you got a particular landing page or offer on that you want to promote? So if you start with that and reverse engineer backwards, typically that's what I find is the most effective thing to do. So I'll give you a hypothetical example. Let's say I'm an Instagram coach and I've decided to create a course all about how to create killer Instagram reels for, I don't know, for argument's sake, £49. So what I'll do then, I'll start to create content around that I know people will actually be searching for on YouTube. So if I create a simple YouTube video all entitled how to create your first reel, I simply target it towards the beginners because £49 is relatively low ticket. So if I created a video all around that, a simple tutorial guide, step-by-step screen share video on how to create a good reel, I can interrupt myself during that video and say, just so you're aware, guys, if you're enjoying this video, I've got a course all about how to create killer reels. You can find it in the link in the top right-hand corner or in the description below. It's £49. Let's get back to the video. And then so on and so forth. You just literally continue. Because don't forget, YouTube is a search engine. It's not a social media platform. It's a search engine. So if someone's actively taking the time to search for a keyword, i.e. Instagram Reels, or they're searching for a tutorial, or they're searching for an answer to a particular question, they're more than likely going to be interested in what you have to offer as long as you make it relatable. So that'll be my first piece of advice. Just start with your initial call to action, what you want to achieve from being on the platform, and then work backwards from that'll be my first piece of advice.
Love that. Okay. And I think what am I trying to say? I suppose when we look at some of the video platforms, right? You've got TikTok that's very video focused. Instagram always pushes stories, which are video, and reels, which are video, and blah, 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 blah. And they've got lives, and so does LinkedIn, right? But YouTube, you mentioned, is a search engine. So just for people who don't understand the difference, including me, I do, but just in case, I don't know everything, obviously. And that's why I bring on experts like you, Connor. So tell me, what is the difference between TikTok, Reels and stuff on Instagram, and YouTube? What's the difference?
Sure. So 9 times out of 10, when people discover your content on Instagram or TikTok, they're scrolling. So you have to basically stop the scroll, capture the most appropriate attention, and hopefully try and convert that attention into followers. However, people aren't doing the same on YouTube, with the exception of YouTube Shorts. We'll leave that aside for 1 second. We're talking about the main videos. So if you want to capture attention on YouTube, you have to cater your content around what people are actually searching for. So on TikTok and Instagram, you're trying to stop the scroll. On YouTube, you're trying to take the same approach as you would do for your website. You don't just launch your website on the basis that people might just come across it. It's the same aspect for YouTube videos. So you have to create the video around the search and then optimize for that search. And then if you successfully do that, you'll basically be able to tell YouTube what it is you're actually talking about, so it can show it in the right search terms and actually get it in front of the right audience. And that's how we reach our target audience on YouTube. Plus, the bonus aspect of that is, for anyone who doesn't know, YouTube is owned by Google, so it's powered by Google. And if you launch a particular search on the Google platform, what you'll notice is if you scroll down far enough, you'll actually see a little section on the top right-hand corner, which is full of YouTube videos. So if you can optimize a YouTube video for a particular keyword enough that it might actually not only appear on YouTube, but it will also appear on the first page of the Google search as well, then theoretically, as a business owner, you can actually rank on the first page of a Google search completely for free because you've optimized that video well enough. So not many people take that approach, really. So yeah, that's that. People give me the same look as you just give me then, Deirdre, in regards to that. But it's a way to rank on the first page. My look is
one of those emojis with the brain exploding because I'm like, there's so much in that, and it's all so valuable. And yeah, I was lucky when I started my business, somebody explained all of these things to me, but I don't really use YouTube. So it's really great to hear this, because I think it's a platform, do you call it a platform? Is it a platform?
Yeah, I would say a platform. Yeah.
I think it's a platform that a lot of people shy away from, particularly because I'm not keen on video content. I don't like being on camera. I quite enjoy talking to people, which is why I love doing the podcast, because I get to speak to amazing people like you, Connor. And also because it's fun. I don't have to share the video if I don't want to. But I know I mentioned this to you before, and you were like, Deirdre, there's so many ways you can share the video. It's really worthwhile doing it.
Yeah.
And before we dive into that and the long form content, I suppose what I'd love to know is, for somebody then who's going to start on YouTube, imagine they have no YouTube experience, they've never done anything on YouTube whatsoever. They now understand that what they need to do is figure out what's the end goal. What do you want viewers to do? What's that call to action? And they need to understand YouTube as a search engine so that they optimize for keywords. Where do I go from there? What do I need? Do I need like lights and cameras and action and all the things?
No, I know there's a very good, sorry, that just really made me laugh. Lights and camera actions. The answer is no, and there's a very good reason for that. So people care more about what you deliver as opposed to how you deliver it. I'd say it's 80% what you deliver, 20% how you deliver it. So I'll give you a quick example. So let's say you did a Google search for something, and the first page that came up, it was basically just completely white, and all it had was standard Times New Roman text, but it perfectly answered your question, and it delivered it with value and in an easy and concise way. Would you be disappointed?
No.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. So if I create a YouTube video, which is literally me sitting in front of camera with a basic level of editing, but I'm providing high level value, as opposed to someone who's got the fancy LED 4K lights set up and all that jazz, and yet it looks fantastic, but are you actually doing anything with that? If the answer is no, then correct me if I'm wrong, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So as long as you basically, first and foremost, as long as you're delivering value, then you can pay attention to your setup. Then you can slowly start to increase things. So all you need to do at the start, realistically, is give value. So if you've never done that before, a very easy way to start would be, if you're a business owner, 9 times out of 10, it's most likely that you're going to be on Zoom on a regular basis. So you're either going to be on a coaching call, you're going to be on a call with a colleague, going to be on a call with a mastermind guest appearance, anything like that. Easiest thing to do, just simply, whenever you're on that call, just set yourself up your phone in landscape in the corner. And as soon as you start talking, just hit record. And it could be 15 minutes long. It could be an hour long. It doesn't matter. But 9 times out of 10, you probably captured something of value, which you can then relate to a keyword you'd like to target. So if you don't do that regularly, you can even just jump on a call with someone and you can get them to ask you very specific questions. Like, just do me a favor on camera. Can you just ask me X, Y, Z? And then they'll ask you X, Y, Z. And you just give them the answer in maybe 2 to 3 minutes long whilst you're actually capturing this in corner on landscape on your phone. There's your YouTube video. It's as simple as that. Just do that, rinse and repeat, and it's easy.
So hold on now. Landscape portrait is like the upright mode on your phone, and landscape is sideways mode on your phone, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and so why landscape and not portrait? Because I'm thinking Instagram and all those places, they've got to go portrait mode. So talk to me about why this needs to be landscape.
It's much easier to repurpose landscape content to portrait than repurpose portrait content to landscape. So landscape video is more universal and it's more associated with long form. Now, yes, you can create long form content with it with portrait video, no problem at all. TikTok have increased their limits over and over again because they're trying to compete with YouTube, which I just find hilarious, but that's a separate point. But if you're going to create YouTube videos on a regular basis, which it is probably the smart thing to do, it should be a base really as you as a creator, as a business owner, which obviously you can then repurpose to LinkedIn as well. But again, we'll touch on that in a minute. But recording in landscape, it's the best thing to do on YouTube. It's the universal thing to do on YouTube.
Okay, so let me just recap and make sure I've got this right, because I think what we'll do, Connor, is we're going to do this live here because, folks, if I can nail this shit, so can you, right? Okay, so what we're saying is give value on the calls that you're on.
Yep.
And what you want to do is record it in landscape. So set your phone up. So I've got a ring light behind, like I have a camera that's on top of a big screen that I have on my desk. And that camera is what I'm looking at right now.
Sure.
And so I have a small ring light on my desk as well. So I can stick my camera on that one and that can be recording me when I'm talking. Should I be looking, which camera should I be looking at then, Connor?
So you want to address in real time what it is you're actually doing. So if you're giving a masterclass or you're speaking on a Zoom call, your attention should be on what you're doing. Basically, the landscape video will be set up as a bit of a side angle, so to speak. So it will be looking at you, but you won't be making eye contact with the camera at all times. It does not matter, to be fair. I think when you launch the video, it'll be very evident that your attention is elsewhere. But again, it doesn't matter. It's because you're giving value. More people you might realize does this. Like Alex Hormozy, for example, does this on a very regular basis when he's giving his coaching calls. Literally just sets up a camera in the corner. He's not actually looking at the camera at all. But you're not really, you don't care. You're listening to the value of what he's saying. So my point is, with this technique, you don't actually have to set up any extra time outside your day to actually sit down and record long form content. You can just basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you're appearing on the Zoom call, you're appearing on your mastermind, your podcast, whatever it is that you're doing, but you're also recording it externally. So then the only time you need to commit, if you wish to do it yourself, is the edit. So that's how that works.
Do you not end up with like tons of memory gone on your phone and like you're recording hours of stuff that's not relevant? What do you do there?
I try and be organized with it. So whenever I do this technique, I always make sure that my phone camera, my phone memory is relatively empty, and then I get it uploaded pretty much straight away. And then after that, I simply use a tool on Premiere Pro, which is the video editing tool that I use. So I use text-based editing. So I'll put the video in and I'll tell it to generate the transcript for me. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes and it'll generate it for me. And then I'll enter in some keywords that I'll be able to clock from memory by going, oh yeah, I spoke about this, that might be good value, or I spoke about this, that might be good value. So I'll type those keywords in. It'll identify the portion of the video for me where I actually spoke about that, and then I can just cut that out, crop it, give it a nice edit, and just get it uploaded. So it's pretty much, it's pretty simple when you know what you're doing.
And that's called Premiere Pro.
Yes, I would. That's basically the ceiling level edit software, in my opinion. So you could literally edit the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy on that if you really wanted to.
Wow.
I would say so, yeah. So it's about 20 quid a month. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate of the Adobe software. But beyond that, you could simply use CapCut, to be fair. I think they're not too far behind. I think Premiere Pro takes the nugget when it comes to editing software.
So I use Descript for my
Okay.
podcast editing because that's a text-based editing as well. And what
Sure.
that means, folks, for those of you who aren't in the know on this stuff, because I like techie things, so I like to hear these things. What that means is usually with the old style video stuff, you're cutting and pasting video at different points in time and trying to create clips and stuff like that. But with the text-based stuff, you delete the words or edit the words and then it cuts those things out, right?
That's correct. That's very correct.
Yeah, I love it. It's so cool. That's why I like scripts. Do you know that part where I said this crappy thing? Let's just cut that. And that happens more often than you might think. I know it doesn't really, not too bad. I just go with whatever I spew out of my mouth. Okay, Connor. So I want to set this up in real life now.
Okay.
And one question I have, so I'm going to put one of my ring lights here. So it's a little bit more in line with the camera, but I can still be looking at you. And I think
we have the same mic. I love it.
This is a great mic. What's the mic? Do you know?
The Shure MV7.
Yeah, that was one of my Christmas presents. I got it the year before last because I was like, this is what I want, because I knew I was going to start my podcast and I wanted the sound to be really good. Okay.
Love it.
So I'm setting up my phone here, folks, literally while we're recording this, and I'm putting it into video mode. And should it be in port, like looking at me, or should
Correct.
I use, the camera at the back? Which camera?
So the front-facing camera is usually sufficient, and it's usually much easier because you can actually see what you're doing in real time. So if you've got a more powerful back-facing camera, there's things you can do, but basically make that easy for yourself. But I would recommend starting with your front-facing camera first, because most high-tech smartphones now, they have the ability to record in the likes of 8K, which is just ridiculous. But some even have the front-facing camera capability to record in 4K. So typically the maximum quality that YouTube can render is 4K and 60 frames per second. So if you have that setting on your front-facing camera, it's more than sufficient. It's pointless going to 8K and over because it's very rare it can actually quantify that sort of level. So LinkedIn definitely can't, for one thing. So yeah, it's pointless. It's not pointless, but it's more than sufficient to stick with a front-facing camera, I'd say.
Okay. That's good to know. And I know because when we met in person and we talked about this, you checked my phone to see what settings I had. You were impressed that I had them right. And why I had them right is because I bought that program, iPhone Photography School, and I literally only did 2 or 3 modules on it, but those 2 or 3 modules were setting up my settings correctly, which is why I have them good. Now, first world problems, because my ring light has the thing to hold your phone, but it'll only hold it in portrait mode. Right. So I've got to go to another one here, which is behind. So let me see, will this stretch out? That one doesn't do it either. This one has 2 settings on it. Let me set this up.
It's all right.
Okay, so what else do I need to be doing as I'm setting this up? I feel like I'm on one of those TV shows now where we're like, or they're doing the cooking demonstrations or something in person. Yeah,
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. So if you can, so when you're setting that up, so there's two boxes I like to tick. So there's the video aspect and there's the audio aspect. So once you've got your phone nicely set up, then yourself, that you're in a perfect position there because you've obviously got the Shure MV7 as well. So if you can create a better audio source than just your phone microphone as well, then realistically that's a winner. But I will say, if you don't, then the audio from your phone is usually sufficient. Okay. So if you can use an external audio source, great. If not, it's not a deal breaker. Okay. So external audio source for your phone, you're talking headphones, right? In regards to microphone. So if it's plugged in, whether you record that on your laptop or you record it through your phone, it doesn't really matter. So I've got my phone set up in the corner and I've got my MacBook Pro set up, and then I'll have my microphone plugged into that, and I'll open QuickTime Player, and I'll say select new audio recording, and I'll record internally through my laptop whilst my phone is also recording as well. So when I've got then I've basically got 2 files. I've got the video file and the audio file. And then when I download them both and get them into my editing software, which is Premiere Pro, like I said, I'll just synchronize the audio from my video with the audio I collected through the microphone. and then I'll replace that over the main video, and then bam, I've got the video with the nice crisp recorded audio over the top.
Okay, so let me recap this and go back, because I right now don't have a MacBook.
Okay.
And I'm so going to get one. It's on my list of things to buy, but I'm reluctant because the laptop I have is good.
Yep.
And so I feel it's waste if I go out and buy a MacBook. But I am an Apple girl through, and I used to have a MacBook. Anyway, won't bore you with the details. My point is, I'm recording here on Zoom.
Yep.
And all of the things that you just said, Zoom can do too.
Yep.
So I have Zoom set up where when I'm recording this content and I have a guest speaker, because can you have guests on YouTube too? It doesn't need to be all solo shows, does it? Or
yeah, you can go live, and you can stream your live feeds to YouTube as well, whether that's solo or with a guest. So I don't typically go live on YouTube. Inexplicably why, I don't know. So it's something I do need to do in the future. But yeah, absolutely.
Live on YouTube. I've done that.
I know.
Probably in mistake, but that's how I learn usually, is I fail forward. Yeah, but
I know what you mean. Yeah. It's because I'm predominantly an editor. So in regards to like podcaster or interviewer, like it's a skill I'm still learning. So yeah, I prefer to be in the comfort of behind the Adobe software as opposed to doing it live.
I went live accidentally last week on LinkedIn, and I had been trying to go live, but then I went live and I didn't think I was live, and I was like, hello, is it me you're looking for? I started saying, I didn't realize that it was actually live and it had posted.
I love it.
I just had a little laugh at myself and I took it off. So you see, folks, this is not about perfection. This is about trial and error and figuring stuff out as you go, because nobody is perfect at the start. Okay, so let me going back to what I was saying there. So with Zoom, I have Zoom set up so that Zoom records in different formats. Yeah. So it'll automatically record everything in gallery view, which means we can see everybody. It'll automatically record speaker view, which means we can cut me out and just look at the lovely Connor. And it means that it will record the audio as well. So it will download the audios. And I think there's a setting, I'm not sure if I have it set up. My ladies who edit the podcast for me will be able to tell you. I think it records the audio separately now on Zoom,
it will.
But it used to before. So that means we can just put in the stuff that Connor says and take me out altogether, which you might be pleased about. But the idea is then that does the same thing that you're saying.
That's pretty much correct, yeah. But when we record the video locally as opposed to over Zoom, so Zoom, like you probably had this in the past, where if we suffer any sort of internet connection or lag, it can actually affect the quality. Whereas if we record it externally and on our phone, not only is it typically better quality, but we're not going to get any sort of interruptions. So yeah, I always find that's a safer option personally.
Oh, I hear you. Now I get exactly what you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
So I get you. Okay. So basically what you're saying is Zoom relies on internet and internet goes down.
Yeah. In a nutshell. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I get you. I hear you now. Okay. So I have my camera set up behind my screen and on my phone, and awesome. I have you set up here. So now what do I do next?
Okay. So have you hit record?
It's been recording there. I just
oh, great.
Now because it's behind and I have to stand up to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you've just love it. So let's just say you've said to me, you just sent me a message saying, have you got 5 minutes? And I go, yeah, what's up? And you say, I just need to record a bit of YouTube content. Can you jump on a Zoom call with me? I'm all set up. So yeah, no problem. So here we are. So what I can do then, I can open up a browser and I can start to look for frequently asked questions to anything to do with your industry. So Deirdre, what would you say is your most relatable keyword in regards to what you do? So what would you say, if you had to sum up what you do in a single keyword or a single 2 or 3 keyword, what do you think it would be?
Business mentoring.
Business mentoring. Okay. So you could just simply whack that into Google, but without pressing enter, and you can see what sort of questions come up.
So what you mean is open up like Chrome or Safari or whatever people are using and type in what people might say about what you do.
Exactly. So you could go to something like Answer the Public or frequently asked questions in regards to business coaching. So you could do this research beforehand, so to speak, and just send me the link. So some frequently asked questions I'm here on business coaching, which I've just found. My business is in a mess. Can you save it? which I love. So we're recording the Zoom call here. So I could say to you on camera, Deirdre, my business is in a mess. Can you save it? It's in so much of a mess. What would you do to save my business? And then the answer to that question that you give me is recorded locally. And then you can use that in regards to relating to that keyword on YouTube. You can add subtitles and throw it on LinkedIn. You can use it as a promo material. So here's some of my most frequently asked questions. Someone approached me saying, my business is in a mess. Here was my response. And then you just show the video and then bam, it's that easy.
Oh my God. Another one of those emojis with my brain exploding. Okay, so break that down again, Connor, because you just fire out all that information there. I'm like, okay, hold on. Go back and start again. So search in your browser for the different keywords. So just again, explain what keywords are for people.
Certainly. So keywords are anything that's related to what you do. So if, like I said, we'll take back to the previous example. If I'm an Instagram coach, my most relatable keyword might be Instagram coaching or Instagram coach or Instagram growth, things like that. All these are keywords, but they're also search terms as well. So what I'd advise, if you open an incognito browser, and the reason we go incognito for this search is we want to make sure that none of your previous search history actually interferes with the results. So we
open an incognito browser, you right click on the icon on your desktop or laptop or whatever you've got. And I use Chrome. So when I right click on my Chrome icon, it says new incognito window. So
that's correct. Yeah. So you go to Google, and then once you're on incognito, you enter the most broad keyword you have. So for example, business mentoring, but you don't press enter. Here's the thing. You don't press enter.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm all over the enter.
No, you don't press enter. And then you see, because it's a search term. So here's how we take advantage of search term. And here's how we take advantage of this. And here's how we put ourselves into the mindset. Okay, this is a search engine. So let's make sure we create content around this search engine. So I've entered business mentoring here, but then without pressing enter. And what Google will then do, it'll give you the autofill feature. So it will give you the most relatable terms that people are actually searching for after the term business mentoring.
That doesn't happen in my browser now.
Does it not? No.
No. So that's if in where the URL link, is that where you mean, or do you go into Google? No.
We go straight to the Google page. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So then if I type in business mentoring, it comes up business mentoring and coaching, business mentoring programs, business mentoring quotes, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Cool. So that should give you some sort of inspiration. But if there's nothing actually there, this is the technique you use. So you've got business mentoring entered, then space, and then I want you to press A, and then see what comes underneath.
Okay.
And then see if there's anything there of value, and then note down what you'd like to use or ignore the ones you don't want to use, and then delete A off, and then B, and then C, and then D, and work all the way down to Z. And that should give you some idea of what people are actually searching for and a good idea of what you can actually create content about.
I love it. Okay, that's amazing. So if I type in business mentoring A, it comes up business mentoring and coaching. It comes up business mentoring academy. Okay, if I go business mentoring and B, it gives me business mentoring in loads of different places, but business mentors blog, business mentorship benefits, business balls mentoring. Okay,
I know, I've got that. So if we take one of those, for example, so business mentorship benefits. So then you know that people are actually searching for, okay, what are the benefits of hiring a business mentor? And then you can talk about 5 benefits of hiring a business mentor, and you can relate it back to that keyword because there is search traffic behind it. So over time, there simply will be traffic coming to that video that you make. It's inevitable because Google would not suggest it if there wasn't any search traffic behind it. It's that simple. And don't forget, YouTube is a byproduct of Google. Google owns it. So any sort of search you make on Google, the search traffic behind it, 9 times out of 10, it is going to correlate over to YouTube and be just as powerful. Yeah.
Okay. So again, I need to come back a step so I really understand this. So what we're saying is to create the content, then I've got my phone recording behind my video, wherever you have your phone set up, folks. I've got my camera where I'm talking to you. And I'm like, Connor, come on, I want to record 5 minutes YouTube content. And I'll have done my keyword search and I know what topics I'm going to talk about. And I'll be like, Connor, these are the questions to ask me. Then what do I do?
So I'm on the Zoom call with you, and you actually make sure that the audio for your Zoom call is playing out loud, so you can hear me ask the question on your phone. So then I will then ask the question, and then the question is picked up on the phone, and then you answer the question, so to speak. So the video starts with, what are some benefits of hiring a business mentorship? I'll start that again. What are some benefits of actually hiring a business mentor? I'm a bit on the fence. Could you break it down for me? And then that's the start of the video. That's the hook. And then you answer that question in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And then we relate that back to the keyword, business mentoring benefits. And then we relate that to the title. And then we've successfully told YouTube and Google what it is we're actually talking about. And we just do that over and over and over and over again. And before you know it, your marketing may potentially become passive. It's that simple. Yeah.
Okay. And what you're saying is then I don't need to look at the phone camera, or doesn't matter where I'm looking. What matters is the value that I give in the answer to that question.
Exactly. So we've created that long form video, and then we've edited it very nicely for YouTube. But then all we do, we take that same video, we throw subtitles on, and as long as it's under 15 minutes, it's good enough for LinkedIn as well.
Okay. So video length, you mentioned long form then. So if we want to say a question, let's imagine I'm an accountant. I'm just going to type in accountant and see what comes up now for the search stuff there. Or actually, maybe let me see, a business coach, right? I'm not a business coach, I'm a business mentor. But let's imagine you're a business coach and you want to do the thing I'm doing, Connor's exercise here. Business coach A, business coach B. I want to find something to throw in. Business coach C, business coach cost is one that's coming up. So is it worth the cost of hiring a business coach? Let's imagine that's the question. How long should the answer be? Because in my mind, I'm thinking it should be short, because I don't want people to, if I can give them the information they want fast and quick and dirty, Connor, let's give it to them.
I completely agree. However, this is where repurposing comes into mind. So if we're talking about the costs of hiring a business coach, for argument's sake, you could theoretically split that into 3 sections. So let's say, I'm just completely spitballing here, but let's say that you start it by saying there are 3 tiers of business coach you should hire: X, Y, and Z. Now, and then you go into detail on X, you go into detail on Y, you go into detail on Z. Then that video could theoretically be 3 minutes long, where you spent a minute talking about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. But then you've also got potentially 3 pieces of short form content as well clipped out of there. One way you're talking about X, one way you're talking about Y, one way you're talking about Z. And that's pretty much the reason why people will go down the numerical route when it comes to videos. So it'll be like 5 reasons why I did such and such, or 6 benefits of doing such and such, because they know that that equates to 1 full long form video, but it also equates to 6 short form videos, which they can then repurpose. So I've taken that approach with one of my clients, where one of the videos we dedicate to every single month, it'll be 12 ways you can do such and such, or 12 pieces of software that I use for XYZ, because we know we want to create at least 12 pieces of short form content for him every single month. So we just dedicate that one video to repurposing the shit out of it. So we supplement the long form with short form. So that's one of the reasons why we make it about 2 to 3 minutes or even longer, because we know there's plenty of repurposing aspect to it. And plus, that's one of the things that YouTube looks for, which is watch time. So if you make a video that's captivating enough to keep people watching for 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes and beyond, that's what it likes to see. So watch time is the golden nugget of YouTube. So if YouTube can see you're keeping people watching, it will naturally promote your video, because YouTube wants you to keep people on the platform as long as possible, because the longer people stay on the platform, the more likely they are to consume ads. And the more likely they are to consume ads, the more money YouTube is likely to make. So as such, you are helping YouTube make money. You are playing by YouTube's rules. So it wouldn't make sense for them not to promote it, essentially. So yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I hope that answers your question.
No, but you know what? I think that last part is every platform is the same. It doesn't matter whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. That's exactly what they want. They want you on that platform so they can promote their ads, because then they can make money.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you're playing by YouTube's rules, consider yourself a YouTuber.
Yeah. Okay. So long form content then is anything, minimum length for long form content is what?
I would say absolute minimum should be over 1 minute. Absolute minimum.
I'm thinking long form content is an hour.
No. It depends on the nature of the video, really. So I wouldn't put a time limit on it personally. So if you're just creating content in the way we have been, in the way that we've just discussed, then I would say 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes is appropriate. Anything over that, it's down to what you prefer. It's down to what you like to produce as a content creator. So if you're creating a podcast and you're placing the video content on YouTube, for argument's sake, then that's naturally going to be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour plus, whatever it is. So, but anything less than that, where you're basically just talking to camera, I would play it by ear, really. So it's whatever you're comfortable with, but I would actively encourage anyone to experiment with that as much as possible. So let's say you're just starting on a platform and you get to the point where you're 3 months in. You realistically, you want to have been posting a variety of different videos with a variety of different lengths, because then you'll get what's called an average watch time. So if I post some videos that are 5 minutes, some videos that are 30 minutes, some videos that are even 2 minutes, I've experimented across the board as much as I can. And then after 3 months, I've seen that YouTube has shown me, okay, you've got an average watch time of 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to look at that and go, okay, I need to start making videos that are 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. So we want to experiment with that as much as we can.
Okay, that's so interesting and valuable to know as well. And I think that's a really good exercise because to do on LinkedIn content.
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn actually shows you what watch time for videos as well.
Correct.
And Apple Podcasts, for any of you who are podcasters, Apple Podcasts shows you average listen time. So it's the same thing for your podcast length.
Yeah,
I would say. So yeah, that's a really good tip. I've got a couple of other questions, Connor, to ask on this. One is follower numbers and viewer numbers, because I say this on LinkedIn, and which is the main place where my ideal clients show up, and my favorite platform, to be quite frank. But like lots of follower numbers doesn't mean you're freaking minted, and it doesn't mean that you're making loads of money or that you have loads of clients, and going viral doesn't mean that either. So with YouTube, like, what should people be cognizant of in terms of followers and viewers and blah, 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 blah? What
I would say, and I'm going to stick my neck out here, I'm going to say it's completely irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
Agreed.
So if you have a creator on LinkedIn who's got, let's say, a couple of 100,000 followers, subscribers, and they do extremely well, and all of a sudden they just decide to start making long form content and they start posting on YouTube, within 2 to 3 weeks, they'll still have barely any subscribers. But does that actively mean that they're not very good? Of course it doesn't. It's irrelevant in my opinion. So like, I used to have a client, he had about, just before we parted ways, he had about 250 subscribers. He was running a 6-figure business on 250 subscribers. It's that simple, purely because he was doing his research. He was creating content based around what his target audience wanted to see. He was actively using the videos to promote his call to action. So realistically, his videos, they weren't even getting that many views, to be fair. They're about 50, 60, 70 views, but maybe 10% of those were actively clicking through to his call to action. And maybe 1% of those were actually booking a call with him. And maybe one or two out of those were turning into a £1,000 a month, £2,000 a month retainer. So that's way more than you can make through YouTube advertising. It's way more than you can make trying to monetize your content on the platform. So just use it in the same way that you would do any other platform. You're trying to reach the right people, encourage them to click through to your call to action, book a call with you, and eventually turn the viewer into an impression, into a client.
Okay.
So that's how we utilize the platform. So you can build a 6-figure business on YouTube with 200 subscribers. It really doesn't matter. But it all, like I said at the start, it all depends on your goal. Like I've had 1 or 2 people come to me, said, I'm not interested in anything else. I just want the silver plaque. I just want 100,000 subscribers. And I'll be like, okay, we can do that, but it's going to cost you a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of time. You're not going to see any return on it whatsoever. But as soon as I say that, like it kind of like their face kind of changes. But if you're sensible and you come to me and say, I want to make long form content to leverage the viewership and turn the interest that's going to make into clients, then that's the smarter route to go down. The numbers mean call on YouTube. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Yeah. And I agree, because it's the same, I think, on other platforms as well. If you're connecting with the right people and you're putting out the right type of content and your calls to action are clear, then that's what's going to convert into actual clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. And I will say as well, so it's how you use the platform as well. So I'd say treat your YouTube content as you would do a website. So when you launch a website, you wouldn't just let it sit there and hopefully just sit and wait for people to click through and book you for something. No, you actively go out and push that website. You do what you can to draw eyes to that website. It's the same thing on YouTube. So if you're, I've had this situation a few times in the past, and it's bloody lovely, I must admit. If you're warming someone up in the DMs and you think that, okay, this is going to go somewhere, and they ask you a specific question, how much of a flex is it if you say, actually, I've answered this question in great detail on my YouTube channel. Here's the link. I posted this video a couple of months ago. Tell me what you think. And they arrive on the video and they see this lovely video that answers their question. And then they go onto your channel and they see this kitted out, consistent, paid attention to YouTube channel that's only got maybe 50, 60, 70 subscribers. They give a shit. No, they're not. Their trust with you has just elevated tenfold because they can now go and binge watch your YouTube videos. Not a lot of people, I don't care what industry you're in, not a lot of other people will do that. So if you can actually have that flex, like, you'd be surprised just how easier it is to close clients. And you can actually use them as, like I said, marketing tools, marketing assets. You can even make them call to actions, to be fair. So if you create a video, let's say 10 reasons why I did XYZ, you can create a carousel where you say 3 reasons why I did XYZ, and then you give the first 3 reasons, and then you make the call to action to go and see the other 7 on my YouTube channel, which, like, then your YouTube channel, it's not just turning into a YouTube channel, it's turning into a funnel. It's its own funnel. So yeah, it's part of your funnel.
Okay.
So take that approach.
A question I have about YouTube then that might be different to the others, and I don't know, so that's why I'm curious, is what I always say to people is, don't build your audience on a social media platform where you can go into LinkedIn jail or one of those things and you can't get access to it. What's the situation with YouTube in that regard?
So in regards to,
like, LinkedIn can block you. If you send too many connection requests, they'll put you in LinkedIn jail for like days.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is, can the same happen on YouTube if you subscribe to too many people?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
Something
No,
like that happen?
I don't think so. No, because unfortunately, and I hate this as to be a thing, but unfortunately, not too many people are actually doing that on LinkedIn. So not many business owners will find on YouTube. Sorry, not many business owners will find each other on YouTube and connect on YouTube and then build a working relationship on YouTube. Like, I'd say it very rarely happens, because obviously that's what we do on LinkedIn. That's what the platform's built for. YouTube is a combination of entertainment and education. So obviously, as business owners, we want to provide education. But I don't think that's ever happened before. So if you want to connect with 1,000 people a day on YouTube, then fill your boots, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, that's interesting to know, because that's something I know. I had Dr. JJ Peterson on recently, and he talked about his friend Amy Porterfield. I was like, oh my God, he dropped Amy Porterfield's name on my show. That's so cool. But my point is that he referenced her, and what Amy Porterfield always says is, don't build your following on rented land. And what she means by that, and I 100% agree, is that your following should be in your email list, because that's
Completely.
where you have control. So that's why YouTube is not something I've considered in terms of a platform. I'm wondering, is YouTube more like your email list potentially? Like,
it can be. I can see the subscriber rate fluctuating. The only time I've seen it come down is if you end up ghosting the platform. So I don't see the engagement going down too much. Or if you ghost the platform and you come back after a couple of months, then obviously you can't be subscribed. You can't be shocked if your engagement has suddenly dropped. But beyond that, no, I don't think that's an issue. So it's one of the smarter things you can do is make the call to action of your YouTube channel to go and sign up to something free, or either to go and download a free lead magnet, which then pushes people towards your newsletter, or just promote that directly. Because if you can alleviate the subscribers into a newsletter signups, then I think, don't build your following on rented land. I love that. I absolutely love that. But unfortunately, it's not the same for people who use the platform to make a living. But we're not trying to be professional YouTubers. There are, I suppose, theoretically, there are YouTubers who will make their living on the platform purely on a business sense, which I like. But if they're a proper business owner, then 9 times out of 10, they'll be diversifying what they do, and YouTube is just a platform to grow on. But they will be channeling that traffic elsewhere.
That's interesting. Yeah. So it's still channel your traffic towards your email list is what I was trying to understand, if that was the same thing as the other social media platforms. And it is. So that's cool to know. Okay. And I think one of the other things, Connor, when I heard you speak at one of the events, And I learned something. I learned loads of stuff. Like I said, I took away tons of notes. One of the things that I picked up was that YouTube has a podcast channel too, which
It
I
does.
did not know. So tell us about that, because I'm sure that there are people listening to my podcast who have their own podcast. So enlighten us, please.
Sure, no problem. So there's a feature now when you upload any sort of video to YouTube, you can either create a playlist or you can assign one of your current playlists and you can mark it as podcast. So when you create the playlist, you can actually tell YouTube whether or not this is a podcast. So if you do that successfully, and then you upload, let's say, a 40-minute chat where it's been recorded over Zoom or Riverside or whatever it is, it's a video style, but it is a podcast, and you upload it and you market it as such, as long as you put it into the playlist that you've marked podcast, the audio version of that podcast will then be available on YouTube Music. So that's how that works, essentially. So you'd be discoverable on 2 different platforms. But yeah. And then a smart thing you can do is then you can take advantage of the fact that you can use YouTube as a funnel. So you can then clip that podcast into a couple of 2 to 3 minute highlight clips, post those alongside the podcast. So a couple of days after, where you target a different search term, a different keyword, and you can make the call to action of that video to go and watch the full episode. So then 1 view is turned into 2. And then you can promote any sort of call to action you want on that podcast. So it's basically using YouTube as a funnel in regards to that. So yeah, you can be smart about it.
And okay, so while we've been talking here, my video is still recording there in the background.
Yeah.
And what do I do with it after we've finished talking and I'm ready to hit the stop button on recording?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So you don't want to leave it too long to throw it into your editing file. So I'm assuming that you're not going to be throwing it to an editor at this point. So here's what I'm assuming. So after you've taken the footage and you've thrown it and you've downloaded it afterwards and you've thrown it into your editor, in your editing software, just try and keep in mind, okay, at this point I said this, or I think I said this point around this time. So just try and keep, when you're recording, just try and keep a mental note of what you said and when you said it. So it's sort of a rough guide. So then you're basically making it easy for yourself to go back in and have a look at the times where it's caught you speaking, and you can review it and think, okay, this isn't a value, I'll remove this bit of value, I'll keep this. This is only 30 seconds long, I'll keep this as a short. And if you work your way through the full half an hour, 40-minute clip or whatever it is, then yeah, you should collect a good amount of content.
Okay, interesting. And so that's in landscape mode.
Yeah.
Where would I be sharing that stuff then?
Okay, so let's assume it's a 2 to 3 minute clip. That would be perfect for your LinkedIn. 100% it would be. So I would just throw some subtitles. I would give it a base edit where you cut out the ums and ahs and any silences. I would throw on some subtitles, and then I would just simply post it on LinkedIn. It's as simple as that. And then after, yeah, that's what I do personally.
I love it.
Especially now LinkedIn are pushing the video.
I'm like, if I could do the thing on Instagram where when I think it's on stories, you can press the emojis and the emojis just go all over the screen. If I could do that on the podcast folks, that is literally what I'd be doing. I'm like, I've got mind blown. I've got like love hearts and all sorts of things, because that has just been so interesting and valuable, Connor. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think would be really beneficial for people to know? Because it's like we're trying to explore and uncover the whole platform, and we need to do 2 episodes.
If by all means you want to have me on for a second, I'm more than happy. If you utilize the footage if you utilize the recording aspect in the way we've discussed, so it's a very good starting point. So I would make sure you put the long form content to use on multiple platforms if you can. So I would upload the finished article to YouTube. And then I would also upload the finished article to LinkedIn with captions added. So that you need to make sure captions are added if you're posting it on LinkedIn. It's not crucial, but I would thoroughly recommend it. And then all I would do after I post that video on LinkedIn, I would leave a comment saying, for more long form content or for more long form video bangers like these, go to my YouTube channel. So if you do that every single time you post, you're basically putting your content to work on 2 different platforms. And yeah, as business owners, trust me, video content on LinkedIn as well as YouTube is the way to go. So not as much as I'd like to say it, YouTube is just not enough in regards to business, that we need to place it elsewhere. And I found it's far more beneficial to actually create the long form content, post it on YouTube, and instead of actually posting the link to the YouTube video on LinkedIn, we just post the video natively on LinkedIn with captions, and then promote your channel in the chapters, in the comments, beg your pardon. because I don't think the platform likes it when you're trying to drive people off platform as such as when you're trying to actually post native content. So that's what I do personally. That's what I do. That's what me and my clients do. And we found it works very well.
And just explain, what do you mean by native content, please?
Sure. So when I say post the content natively on the platform, I mean upload the video directly onto LinkedIn and post it as a video on LinkedIn, as opposed to trying to place a link to YouTube on your LinkedIn as a post, if that makes sense.
So you upload directly from your files as opposed to doing link here or click there or whatever.
Exactly. As opposed to trying to make a post on LinkedIn where you provide a link to your YouTube video, essentially. So best thing to do then, like I said, post a link to your YouTube content in the comments, which I don't think is as much of a problem as far as I'm aware.
No, it's not. That's what I do at the moment. And I'm just thinking another place you could put it is if you have a really nice thumbnail to your YouTube channel, you could put it in the featured section as well and just direct people to the featured section of your LinkedIn to go to YouTube.
That's what a lot of my clients do, and it works very well. As well as highlights on Instagram as well.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like the highlights on Instagram too. Okay. Connor, oh my God, I'm like, I need to go and digest this. Folks, I hope you've been taking so many notes. I will recap everything now in a second and just make sure I've captured everything. Connor, anything else before we wrap up? What's coming up for you in your business?
So we told you this off camera. So myself and my partner, Sam, we run a video editing agency called Precision Edits Limited. We've outgrown the office that we set up in our flat. So we've taken the step and we're investing in an office off-site. And as well as that, we're setting up a proper recording studio where we can basically thoroughly increase the quality of our content. And any clients that we have that are based here in the UK, we can invite them over to the studio and we can get their content recorded in good 4K, 60 frames per second, good quality content and everything like that. So yeah, that's the next step for us. And yeah, so that's what I concentrate on personally. So a lot of people will offer editing for short form video. And don't get me wrong, I think it's fantastic. It's crucial to your marketing aspect, but not too many people that tend to delve into long form. And I found passion as a long form video editor. I can edit short form, no problem at all. Fucking hate it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I really don't like it. I would prefer, like, my dream, and I'm not too far off it, to be fair, is to basically sit here. I am pretty much early morning up until midday, focusing on a different creator's YouTube video every single day. And then in the afternoon, focusing on my own. Like, I'm not too far away from that. As soon as I went self-employed, I thought, you know what, that's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. And I'm not far from it. And yeah, the package that we offer, it just seems to go down a treat. And yeah, I'm enjoying what I do in regards to long form content.
I can tell, and my God, are you a whiz at it? And I have seen some of the stuff that you've put out for some of your clients. So if you're in the UK, folks, and you're looking for somebody to help you, Connor is your guy. And I'm going to share all of his links in the show notes below. So make sure you click on them and check him out.
I appreciate
Connor,
that.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Deirdre, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I loved it. I thoroughly loved it.
And we'll have to get you back for round 2.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Feel free to ask.
Thanks, Connor.
No problem. Take care.
Okay, folks, can we be real for a second? How many of you are secretly thinking, yeah, Deirdre, that YouTube sounds cool, but I don't have time for that? Well, Connor just shattered that excuse. Seriously, record those client calls, chop them up for multiple different platforms. It's way easier than you think. It's so freaking easy that I managed to set it up while we were literally recording the episode. That's how easy it is. So here's your homework. Start with just one valuable nugget from this episode. Turn it into a quick video using your phone, landscape mode, remember, and then just freaking post it already. And hey, I get it. Editing is not for everyone. I hate it. That's why I have an incredible team who help me with editing my podcast. But if you're like me and you need some help with editing your videos or your podcast, reach out to Connor. He and his team can get you up and running in no time. His links are in the show notes. And I know some of you will want to do it DIY. Do it DIY. That's how I started. We've got links to the tools mentioned in the show notes too. So you'll be able to go back and click on the ones that Connor mentioned, Premiere Pro. You can click on the other ones, CapCut and Descript that we talked about in the show as well. Before you go, if you loved what you heard today, show a little love back. Please rate, review, and follow the show. That helps us reach more business owners just like you who are ready to level up, who are ready for greatness in their business. And if you know someone who could use this kind of YouTube magic, maybe somebody who's not afraid to go on camera, go ahead and share this episode with them. Okay, for you, my friend, get out there right now and make those videos. And until next week, keep mastering your business. Bye.